Hello and welcome to episode 61 of TB3 Sports Talk. I'm one of your hosts, Colby. I'm here with Will. I'm here with Joel. And we got a busy week of Tampa Bay sports to deliver to you guys because, two teams are in action. One team seems to be hitting rock bottom. The other team had a huge moment, a moment we'll never forget in their history. So, happy to be back with the fellas. Happy to be talking to you guys. If you guys are here listening to this video, please, if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Let us know how you guys feel about the Buccaneers' loss or the Tampa Bay Lightning's win. Let us know, how you feel about that Stammer tribute video. It was getting me a little bit emotional. I was cutting onions in there. But yeah, if you guys are on Spotify, hit the follow and the 5-star button. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at TB3 Sports Talk. And let's get right into it, boys. How are we feeling about this Tampa Bay sports week?
The Lightning were able to boost my mood a little bit, but it's football season, man. I'm desperate for a Bucs win. I'm desperate for it. It feels like it's been 1,000 years. Man, 2 weeks ago, it's only been 2 weeks since the last win, but it could be an eternity for all I care. Yeah.
It's worse that you lost to. It's worse to lose the same team twice and to get embarrassed defensively twice by the same team, by the same washed-up quarterback that seems to kill us.
Yeah, and the Kirk Cousins rap. I saw that one too many times.
Yeah,
before
come in your trap, take over your trap, no cap.
Yeah, he has no right to say that.
Yeah, just gets in there, flannel T-shirt, no jewelry, no aura, and rips apart your defense. And it's really starting to get to me. All right, guys.
We're Bucs fans. It's built into our DNA. We're the lovable losers of football.
Yeah.
But that hockey game, beating Steven Stamkos, I wasn't planning on that.
Was
nice. Giving up the assist really did suck. But if that's all you're gonna do, I'm good. That was the highlight of the weekend.
Yeah, beating Stammer and now you're 1-0 in overtime. You can't ask for anything better as a Lightning fan. And I was gonna go back to the Bucs before we get into the game. Speaking of being a Bucs fan for long term and remembering the pre-Tom Brady days, Baker Mayfield is starting to feel a lot like Jameis Winston.
He's funnier though, so I'll take it.
Funnier?
Yeah.
No one's funnier.
State Farm commercials? Oh yeah.
I don't know. No, I don't know if anyone's funnier than Jameis. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will be glad and rejoice in Him.
I'd say Baker is funnier intentionally. Like, he's a comedian.
Yeah,
he's a locker room guy.
That's what I'm looking for.
Jameis is unintentionally funny.
Dude, Jameis is so funny.
It's painful.
But Jameis is. I feel bad because Jameis also is like dead serious, and people are like, "Look at the funny thing he said." He's like, "Dude, he's like."
But also, it's funny, but like his teammates are buying into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they love Jameis over there in Cleveland. And
I've always believed.
Baker Winston is what I'm calling him these days until he proves me wrong and stops throwing so many interceptions.
Well, Winston, man, he was interceptionless against the Ravens, a familiar opponent.
When I make great decisions, I believe I'm a great NFL quarterback.
They say the sky's the limit, but people have been to the moon.
Wow. That's beautiful, Jameis. Be a church pastor when you retire. Make it happen.
He's got to be. He's got to be. Have you ever seen? He was on Theo Vaughn, the Theo Vaughn podcast.
Oh yes, and he was on Sunday Conversation.
He was He actually preached a sermon on Theo Vaughn.
That's awesome, dude. Especially thinking about FSU days and how he's grown. It's beautiful, man. What a journey for Jameis.
He got in trouble for stupid stuff. I'll say it right now.
The
guy said he could take the crab legs. He said it was like a worker. He's like, yeah, you're Jameis Winston. Come in, get whatever you want. That was before the NIL days.
Yeah.
Imagine now he'd probably have an NIL deal with Publix. But.
Yeah. The college athletes were scraping together dimes to buy stuff because they weren't getting paid like they do now. Now they got Maseratis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I love it, but sometimes it does get ridiculous.
I just feel bad.
They're building their ego early.
I just feel bad for these guys like Jameis or Tim Tebow or Johnny Manziel. They missed out on so much money, so much.
Tim Tebow had to cover up murders for free.
Okay, whatever. Oh man, 2008 Gators, baby, dude. next episode we'll talk about the 2008 Gators and what they did to Noshawn Moreno and what I want them to do to Trevor Etienne.
And why Swamp Kings was just such a disappointment.
Absolutely. There's no denying that, even as a Gators fan. Let's glaze at Urban Meyer for a whole documentary. All right, whatever. All right, let's get into this game, man.
Let's get into it and let's get over it.
We're avoiding it because it stunk.
I'm sick of it, yeah. But, man, it's a special time of the year. There's some controversy nowadays, but when I see the Bucs rock those creamsicle jerseys, I can't help but feel special. I can't help but feel like it's going to be a special game, special time. I love, the helmet, the old school helmet and face mask painted in the center of the field. The Bucs looking super sharp. And you just expect them to have a good game. Even though they really haven't,
the
you
arm
still
sleeves.
expect.
I think we should comment on the arm sleeves.
The Antoine Winfield. I know he was wearing it for sure. I don't know if anybody else was. I need one
that
of
might
those.
be the accessory of the year. Like, it was beautiful. Have the creamsicle red stripe on it. Oh, my gosh. What an arm sleeve. It was gorgeous.
That was awesome. Everything about those uniforms are perfect. I think they might be the best, at least the best throwback in the NFL. I know people might argue the Kelly Green, Denver, Seattle had a cool one. But no, none of them compare. None of them compare to the creamsicle. But anyways, yeah. So everybody's excited. TB3, we had a watch party right here in the stew. All the gang were here. We got some creamsicle pops, some orange crush, which I swear last year they had like right around the same time as the creamsicle game last year. They had like a creamsicle soda of orange crush, like an alternate version.
Okay.
And I looked all over like two Publixes on the way to the game. I
Didn't
couldn't
have
find
it. That's brutal.
But anyways, we had a great time outside of the ending, of course. And let's just get right into the game because the Bucs said we want the ball first, which they've done a lot recently. But I think that the trend has to come to an end, especially if you win the toss next week. I'm not a big fan. I like getting the ball in the second half. I think it's better for the team overall. But the Bucs get the ball to start off. And Rachaad White gets an 8-yard rush right off the rip. Loving what we're seeing from the run game, at least after the first play. And then on 2nd and 2 at Tampa Bay's 38-yard line, Rachaad White would fumble like right at the last second, peanut punched out, and that would give the ball right to the Falcons, who would score a touchdown. But then the Bucs, they came to life a little bit. They would march right down the field. 8 minutes of clock, 70 yards, 15 plays, a beautiful, perfect, methodical drive to tie the game, and it would be Baker Mayfield throwing it to Cade Otton for the touchdown. And then they would force Atlanta to punt, and on your next drive, the Bucs would score again. This time, Rachaad White, he just walked into the end zone. Nobody's even around him, and before you know it, the Bucs were up 14-7. But that's when it started to go downhill. Atlanta would score a touchdown again, tying up the game. The Bucs couldn't do anything on their ensuing drive, and Atlanta would score right after that, making it 21-14. And to end the first half, the Bucs could only muster a field goal to make it 21-17 before Atlanta answered right back with a field goal of their own. So now we're going into the second half, down 24-17. Atlanta would get the ball, but your Bucs defense would make a stop to start the second half and get the ball back. But Baker Mayfield would throw an interception. Bucs couldn't do anything. On their next drive, Atlanta would score again to make it 31-17, and it seemed like all hope was lost when Baker Mayfield threw his second interception of the game. But then here we go, the witching hour, as they call it in the NFL. The Falcons would give up a safety, and it's 31-19. The Bucs would score a touchdown around the middle of the fourth quarter to make it 31-26. With 6 minutes to go, all they need to do is get another stop, try to get the ball back, but Atlanta would eat up the remaining 6 minutes of the game. The Bucs would be able to make one final stop with barely any time left, no timeouts, and the Falcons would try to extend their lead, but Younghoe Koo would miss a field goal, and here we go. Bucs got one shot, 1 minute and 4 seconds left. What could happen? Fortunately, nothing. The only thing that happened on that last drive was a state trooper broke his ankle because Baker overthrew the Hail Mary out of bounds. The Bucs lose this game 31-26. They're now 0-2 versus the Falcons this year. They are now a full game behind in the NFC South race.
You gotta admit though, these losses have been pretty fun.
They've been close games.
They're nice, close nail biters. I actually kind of wanted him to make that field goal just so we'd have to go for 2 on the Hail Mary, but
why?
It didn't happen the way I wanted it.
Oh, Joel, and your love for football close games, even when it's your own team.
It's built into my DNA.
Yeah, I didn't know the state trooper broke his ankle.
Yeah.
Makes mad. And, dude, you know.
We're praying for you, man.
Yeah, I hope you're all right, man. You know, you look later on in the day, too, and you look at Washington versus Chicago, and you look at Jaden Daniels putting the ball right where it needs to be on a Hail Mary. It was a little short, but it tipped up and it went there, and it's like, man, Baker, just don't overthrow your receivers. Give them a chance, dude. And that was a theme of this game. Baker Mayfield was not sharp in this one.
Yeah, and I think we should stick to this last drive here because I think it was some pretty bad clock management. Third and 4 on Tampa Bay's 42-yard line here on their last drive. They run a play for 6 yards, and it gets down all the way to 24 seconds left before they get to another play. And I wonder why they didn't clock that, why they didn't spike it there. What's Liam Cohen thinking on that one? You got to get your guys to at least stop the clock. I think you mismanaged that. I know you don't have any timeouts. You have a minute left, but they barely moved the ball and wasted way too much time to make it more of a tougher throw for Baker, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think, again, I like to judge my outlook on something that happened in the game when it comes to coaching decisions or clock management of what I felt like in the moment. And I mean, we were all here watching the game. Me and Will, all of us were saying, spike the ball. That was a perfect chance to spike the ball. You got the first down. The downs don't matter right now. It's 1st and 10. You go to 2nd and 10. It doesn't matter. And I think that some of that goes on Liam Cohen, but some of that goes on Baker Mayfield. He's been in enough 2-minute situations to have that feel. Because, I mean, I know they have the in-helmet communication, but, I mean, when you're running hurry up like that, that can't be really effective communication. I mean, that's got to just be, quick, hope. You have a plan going in. So the plan might not have been to spike it, and then that's on Liam Cohen. But I do think Baker Mayfield needs to have that feel just to spike. And I mean, he's in control in that 2-minute situation. So I would give them both blame on that.
I mean, we saw the Chiefs move the ball like 70 yards in 13 seconds.
Yep.
And we couldn't move. And we moved what? We started that drive at the 36, our own 36, and ended it at Atlanta's 38.
Yeah, we got one big chunk play, but that was about it. But at that point, the chunk play happened with about 20 seconds, and then we got 2 plays after that. So, it was not really well managed. I saw something that with the position of what Todd Bowles did with his timeouts, he could have saved the Bucs like an extra 10 seconds. I might be able to find that. But, yeah, clock management wasn't great, I think. Yeah, it wasn't great, but at the end of the day, if the Bucs had won this game, they would have stole that. They would have stole that win from the Falcons because they were pretty badly outplayed all day. So, I don't know. Do we want to go right into offense or defense?
Let's just get defense out of the way.
Well, I got a lot on defense. So, man, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For the second week in a row, they allow Kirk Cousins to go crazy, or the second game in a row for the Bucs versus the Falcons. Kirk Cousins threw for over 500 in this one, in Thursday Night Football, and in this one he was pretty much the same. He threw for
way less than 500.
It was still a lot. 276. He threw for 276.
Average.
Yeah, but still 145.9 passer rating. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And the Falcons really, especially in the first half, moved the ball at will. And I don't know, what are you guys looking at for this Bucs defense as your biggest hole or concern or whatever?
I think a lot of it has to do with just not getting pressure on Kirk Cousins and not forcing the Falcons to have to make plays. I think that the biggest thing I saw in this game is just no edge presence. No guys getting in Kirk Cousins' face, and I look at especially like with the sack department. The only 2 sacks came from Brewer.
Yeah,
that's it. Where's Yaya? Where's JTS?
Braswell, another really stinking game.
Golston.
Yeah.
Even Vita Vea or Cansey. Like, where are you guys at? You can't get pressure on him, and he was just able to pick you apart yet again. Like, none of the throws were special. And it was the same thing with the first time around. I wouldn't say he's just that elite. He's not that good. And especially coming off that Achilles injury, he's a sitting duck out there. And you should have
not that one play.
Him. Yeah.
Oh man, that makes me mad. Kirk Cousins ran for 12 yards. Oh my goodness.
Smoke him. Whoever that was in coverage, how dare you get your ankles broke by him? You should be ashamed of yourself. Sorry.
It was embarrassing.
Kirk Cousins just wanted to be Baker Mayfield. He's like, oh, Baker Mayfield more runs? Well, watch this.
But yeah, I think, as we look towards the trade deadline, you got to go after somebody. You really have to. I think as much as I'd love Cooper Kupp, and I still say, I still look at some of the last, Super Bowl champions, how much they went all out. They went and got guys. They sold out, and it benefited them. I would still do that because I still think this team has plenty of talent to get there. You look at the NFC, you've already beaten probably the best team.
Two of the best teams.
Three
of the best teams.
Yeah. You've already beaten them, and you're looking at, we'll see what happens with the 49ers, but they certainly aren't as good as what everybody says. So I certainly think I'd love to go out, but I think if you really want to make a push and you really want to salvage a season, you got to go after an edge somewhere. It's just not cutting it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think people who are begging for the Bucs to make a big splash at the receiver position, I think it's uneducated, and I think you did not watch this game on Sunday. I think the offense is perfectly fine with Liam Cohen. I would say the person I would blame our offensive woes on the most is Baker Mayfield, and you're not changing that at the deadline. Baker Mayfield's going to be your quarterback for this year and next year, and he's got to be better, but the receivers were getting open, the scheme was there, and the Bucs offense moved the ball pretty much at will when they didn't turn it over. So I think anyone who is looking at this trade deadline and saying we need a receiver, I think that's dumb. I think the Bucs should expend their resources on defensive players because I think that whole linebacker group, other than Levante David, has been atrocious. I think you look at guys like people we are looking to have bounce-back seasons, people that have been in the league for a considerable amount of years, JTS, KJ Britt, guys that, have the talent. We've seen them produce in game-to-game basis. They've been terrible. JTS has been non-existent on the field for this whole career. And, you want it to change. This guy has the whole frame, the whole talent to be a difference maker in the NFL, but he doesn't do it. KJ Britt is number one on my hate list right now. This guy is the biggest reason why the Falcons are able to move the ball. The middle of the field is free and open because KJ Britt can't cover anything. And the Bucs have no other options. I mean, you could go for J.J. Russell, but he's been a career backup, preseason, practice squad type guy. Servace Dennis is out for the season.
Can't stay healthy.
Yeah. You don't have any other options. So I think that if we're looking at the trade deadline, I'm with Will. I still believe in this team. I mean, you look at all these games, like Joel mentioned, they've been close, gut-wrenching games both Falcons games should have been wins. Broncos, you didn't show up. Ravens is the only game where it's like you lost that one. That's probably a better team.
But
right
again,
now
it's been too many self-inflicted wounds.
Absolutely.
At the same point too. You got to stop turning the ball over, and you set yourself up for failure by doing so.
And on the other flip side of the coin, the players on defense have got to play better. There are plenty of players that we have a lot of trust in. I mean, the best players this year, I look at a guy like Zion McCollum, is a guy we didn't know what we were going to expect from. And he has been solid. A guy like Christian Eisen, he's an undrafted guy. He's been one of the best defenders out there. Guys like Vita Vea and Antoine Winfield. Antoine Winfield, you just made the highest paid safety in the NFL this offseason. The last two games, he has had a PFF grade in the 40s. One of the worst players in the entire defense based on the PFF grade. That is unacceptable. And I know he was banged up earlier this season, but that's ridiculous. And you look at the Bucs, they're not playing complementary football. You look at this offense, they are fourth in the NFL in scoring offense. Defensively, 28th. Another reason why, if we're looking at the trade deadline, you have to focus defense. This defense has been atrocious. And then you look at this season. Run defense is something that's been a strength for the Bucs for the considerable past. They have been good against the run. The Buccaneers this season are 30th in the NFL, allowing 5.2 yards per rush. More than half a first down every single time a team runs the ball. Ridiculous. And you look at just this opponent, the Atlanta Falcons. This is a subpar offense. This is a subpar team. This team is not better than you guys. The Atlanta Falcons, in their 6 other games that they didn't play Tampa Bay, 113 points scored, 18.8 points per game. In their 2 games against Tampa, 67 points scored, 33.5 points per game. That is nearly double the amount of points they score on average against your Bucs defense. It's ridiculous. And we can look at the players, we can look at the front office and make moves, but we also got to look at the defensive coach, who is also the head coach. And I think when you look at this defensive performance against the Falcons, the same problems were had. And I want to see adjustments. So I've been talking for a while. I'll leave the floor up to you guys, but that's just something I see, just in general.
I'm going to disagree with you just a little bit because you bring up names like that, and at some point you have to go, well, who else are we going to go to? Like I said to start, the biggest problem has been getting pressure, the edges. Well, again, with the rush game, why can't you stop it? Where's Vita Vea at? Where's Kalijah Kancey? Where is Logan Hall? We've been waiting for that guy to have a breakout game. Greg Gaines. I mean, there's a lot of names on that side. And where does Todd Bowles go to? Because these guys obviously aren't making an impact. They aren't doing what they're supposed to. And I think that's the thing. That's a two-way street I have, too, with paying guys right away or early. Because I just think these guys will ball out. They'll be Pro Bowlers. They'll be all pros on their contract year. But as soon as you pay them that money, then we get poor performances. And especially like somebody like Antoine, like you said, that's just unacceptable. And I think, yeah, you can blame Bowles for this and that. Maybe maybe his scheme wasn't there. Maybe he's been figured out and he hasn't adjusted. But at some point, these guys have to step up. If we're reading these grades and the best guy, from last week is a 67, and this week supposed to be the star of our defense has a 40, that sounds like a player thing more than a coach thing, because that seems like your effort's not there or your mental preparation's not there.
Well, then why isn't the coach lighting a fire under their butt? Like, that's the problem that we've had with Todd Bowles this whole time. He's a friend. He's like, I don't care if you're only getting like a 66 on the scoring grade or whatever. Like, who cares? It's all right. Just have a good time. Playoffs are for winners.
I disagree with that, Joel, but I do think it's a little bit...
You're a professional.
No, and I get that, and I'm not even saying that. I'm saying schematically I've been really disappointed with Todd Bowles. His blitzes are not getting home. I understand you got to get pressure with 4 to succeed in this league. I get that. But Todd Bowles is known for these blitzes. That is what he made his living at as a defensive coordinator. He has to scheme up better blitzes. The middle of the field has to be covered. I mean, you have to figure out a way to not let easy stick routes and out routes and slants kill you. Post routes. Kyle Pitts hasn't had these good of games ever in his career, and he's had 2 great ones against the Bucs this year. This is the scheme, just basing off, I'm not talking about the attitude of the team, I'm not talking about leadership, I'm talking about Todd Bowles' scheme on defense has been lackluster. But my point wasn't just to blame on Todd Bowles. I am saying this. Through 8 games of Tampa Bay Buccaneers football in 2024, this defense, from coaching to player, every single person on that squad has been an utter failure. This has been an utter failure of Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Unacceptable. These players are better than what they're playing. This coaching staff is better than what they're doing, and they have allowed way too many embarrassing performances at home, especially. That's the thing that makes me so mad. These last 2 games have been horrible games, huge games. Division rival, that is the team that you're competing with for the top of the division. One of the best teams in the AFC on Monday Night Football in primetime when everyone is watching. And your defense comes out and lets them go up and down the field. 41 last week, 31 this week. That is too many points. So my point is not to throw one person on the bus. It's to throw every single person on that defense on the bus. Because as a squad, it's been unacceptable. And I'm not going to put blame on one person because all of them need to step up and play better. You brought up a great name. Kalijah Kancey. What a disappointing second year for him. I get you start off the season banged up. Again, same injury you get banged up for. Another circumstance of where we're frustrated with Bucs players not being able to stay healthy. Then you come back. He doesn't have a sack. He has maybe 1 or 2 tackles for loss. He's been in a couple plays, especially that first game. I remember his name being called, but he's been non-existent the last couple games. And he is the freak pass rusher. Yaya Diaby, he has gotten home. He has gotten home maybe once or twice this season. And I know you can tell me all about how many pressures Yaya Diaby has. And I get that. You want to pressure the quarterback. That is completely correct. But
at some point
you have to get home.
Because you can pressure all you want, but if any quarterback in the NFL has a decent amount of time to throw the ball, it doesn't matter.
15 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble on the season for Yaya Diaby.
And not to mention, it's starting to frustrate me how many times he has to – look, I know injuries happen. I had plenty of injuries as a player, but I do get sick of kind of you're supposed to be the guy in that room, and you have to take a break every couple of snaps. You're always on the field. You always have some sort of injury. Like, come on, man, you got to step it up. You got to play with some toughness. You really have to. That's the thing I've had an issue with Diaby. It's every game. He's getting looked at by the trainers. He's on the ground, and he comes back and plays. And it's like, you got to toughen up. You got to be able to fight through some of that. But I think to answer your point, Joel, again, these are professionals. They don't need Todd Bowles to tell them to fire them up and light a fire under them. They are in the NFL. This is your job now. You get paid to do it.
I think this isn't going to happen under Pittsburgh with that coach.
It might, but again, look at them. They barely scrape 500 every year, so it doesn't really matter.
They got Russell Wilson, 6-2, baby. Let's go Steelers.
Okay.
No, but seriously.
But then to answer your point too, I don't necessarily know what you're upset with Todd Bowles' scheme, because I look at this game and I see Kyle Pitts. I see Thunderbuck on Kyle Pitts, and I like that actually. But he's got to be able to make a play there instead of holding on for dear life. I look at so many times in the NFL, Travis Kelce is the king of this with the Chiefs. How many teams have gone into a game and have put a linebacker on him and he just torches them? Well, I like having a cornerback on him. I like having a cornerback on a tight end. I know Kyle Pitts is a freak athlete. He's more like a receiver anyway. But a one-on-one DB, you got to win that matchup. You can't just get burned out of the water and give up a touchdown like that. And same thing, I think, with Kyle Pitts' other one. It was Winfield. It was Winfield, yeah, another DB. You have to win that battle. I'm sorry. He's a tight end. You have to win that battle.
My thing with Todd Bowles is more the blitzes. The blitzes aren't getting home.
Well, again, you could blitz 11, and if nobody can get home, nobody can get home.
Yes, but you got to give,
because we've seen that these guys can't pass rush. They can't do it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think he could do a better job scheming up the defense. But again, I'm not blaming everything on Todd Bowles. I think this is a complete failure from coach to player, from each player. Everyone who's taken a snap on defense has been disappointing this year, except for Zion McCollum. That's it.
It makes you appreciate Devin White. All you Bucs fans wanted to run him out of here. But that guy could sure cover and pass.
Or does it make you see that he's worse, that he lost his job to KJ Britt?
I just think it's the media running people out of town. I've seen it too often with the media here. That's why I'm trying to change. We're trying to be a light in a world of darkness. But I just think. Well, also, I just think too. There's like 2 years ago, it was Mike Evans, and he was a locker room problem, and he's not happy. Like, there was one clip of him in one of the games in 2022, and there's a clip of him in the locker room not looking happy after a win, and then all the media here eats it up, and it's like, Mike Evans isn't happy here. He's a locker room issue. Well, then, like, the next week versus the Panthers, Mike Evans puts up like 150 and 3 touchdowns. And I think it's the same thing with Devin White. They had a vendetta against him from the beginning. I know he played bad at some points, but I think it's just another media-fueled thing to try to get him out, because they didn't like him. They didn't like I always forget his name.
Who are we talking about?
Offensive coordinator.
Leftwich?
They hated Leftwich.
Well, he stunk.
But again, it was not. The offense didn't get any better under Canales. It definitely got better with Cohen, But with Canales, you could say the same thing. They couldn't run the ball, and they struggled mightily at times. And I think you look at with Leftwich's situation, worse offensive line, and Brady, throwing the ball into the dirt if he didn't like to play. That's my 2 cents.
Fair enough. Also, what was I about to say? I don't know. Just to keep throwing salt in the wound, and the Bucs are 1-3 in their last 4 games, and in that stretch, the Bucs are actually the highest scoring team in the NFL. They're averaging 34.5 points per game, but their defense has let them down, and that's the bottom line. This defense has let this team down. Just a note, going into next week. Josh Hayes, who actually had a pretty solid game, he took over in the second half for Tyreek Thunderberg, who struggled. He had a 75.3 PFF grade, top on the defense. He will be starting on the other side of Zion McCollum at that cornerback 2 position over Tyreek Thunderberg against the Chiefs on Monday, so that's something to look out for. I think another thing to kind of combat your point, Joel, is Todd Bowles has been switching out players and giving other players opportunities to, try to take the position, fight for spots. J.J. Russell got in there, he got a tackle. C.J. Brewer, a positive from this game, a couple sacks in this one, big play, tackle for loss. That's what we needed to see, and C.J. Brewer's taking spots or minutes from, minutes, thinking about basketball. Taking snaps from, guys like Cansey or Gaines or Will Golston. So Todd Bowles is throwing people in there. He benched Thunderberg in the second half, so you got to give him credit for that, trying to switch it up.
Again, just to reiterate, there's 53 guys on an NFL roster.
Mm-hmm.
You are not deep. You don't have 20 guys at each position. It's not like there's 100 different guys you can throw in. You can't just go. You also have a salary cap. You can't just go out on the street and bring in a handful of guys and have them compete. You are limited to 53 guys. So some positions are thin. There's a lot of places where he doesn't have a choice, and I think that's the biggest thing to think about too.
And all those positions that are thin seem to be the ones that get injured.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's unfortunate. I think we can move on to offense because, other than Baker Winston, I was pretty encouraged by this offense. I think, there's a couple things we can talk about. I don't know. Initially, guys, what are your thoughts on the offense in this game?
Well, I love that the offense can score and they can put up points at will, but we got to talk about, inopportune mistakes. And I think that's another reason why, again, I get sick of how everything is Todd Bowles' fault, because you look at the game, you start off, and what do? You immediately fumble. Okay, fumbles happen, unacceptable. But you look at the second half, and that's the biggest part, when after you've made the adjustments, you've played a half football, you know what they're doing. You look at the Bucs in the second half, and their first 3 drives, interception, turnover on downs, interception. And when I think of that, it's like the Bucs were able to get 2 stops, the two Falcon stops when the Falcons opened up the half and after Baker threw the pick, and you're able to do nothing with it. So I like the high scoring and I like this and that, but you got to be able to score, and you can't make mistakes like that at pivotal moments in the game. Because imagine Baker, you don't throw at least one of those interceptions, you could tie the game, and then we're looking at something different here. But again, I just think you got to be able to lower the turnovers and mistakes. And, again, you can't put the defense in inopportune positions and then blame them when they give up a score.
Absolutely. I think turnovers are just the Achilles heel of this offense right now. I think you look at Baker Mayfield, 7 interceptions his last 3 games. Prior to that, the first 5, only 2 interceptions. So Baker Mayfield's on a run. You mentioned this last week, Will. He throws them in bunches, and he has to be able to get out of that. He has to look himself in the mirror and stop throwing into double coverage, because both these interceptions this week were on Baker. And, I can see the angle of, that one on the flea flicker. Ryan Miller could have prevented that from being an interception.
But it wasn't there.
But it wasn't a good throw.
You got to throw it away.
Not a good decision.
It wasn't there.
Yeah, it's not a good decision. Not a good decision. That second one was even worse of a decision. And both these picks, ended up deep in Falcons territory. These were on drives that the Bucs were driving. And not only that, I think both these picks were on early downs. These weren't third down picks. These were first and second down picks. And it's really frustrating. 7 interceptions, 3 games, and then you look on the flip side, he's not getting pressure. These aren't tipped balls. Baker Mayfield's only been sacked 4 times in the last 3 games. So he's thrown more interceptions than he's been sacked in the last 3 games. That's ridiculous. And that goes down to Baker Mayfield. We look at this game against the Saints. He had those 3 picks. We could say 2 of them weren't Baker's fault. Ever since then, last week and this week, these have been on Baker. And he's better than that. And we know he's better than that. We've seen him be better than that this year. And I don't know exactly why he's forcing it. I think some of this also has to come down to Liam Cohen, who really kind of abandoned the run game in the second half. And I see both sides of it. I understand you're down. You want to pass to get back in the game.
Yeah, but you're running
for
7.
You're running for chunks. I'm with
50.
you. I'm right there with you. You're running for chunks of yards. You have to keep giving the ball to Bucky. You have to keep giving the ball to Sean Tucker. You have to keep giving the ball to Rachaad White. Those are your best players on offense right now. And you threw it to him. And I thought overall, the game plan and the play calling was really, really good. I thought Liam Cohen did a fantastic job without Evans and Godwin. The Bucs moved the ball at will. If Baker Mayfield, like you said, doesn't throw those interceptions, if you could have kicked a field goal on both of those drives. If you take a knee where Baker Mayfield threw an interception, you could kick a field goal on both those drives and win this game by 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
You're killing yourself on offense. Bucs defense is discouraging because I don't see a fix. Bucs offense, I see an immediate fix.
Yeah, but I disagree because I look at the second half. The Bucs gave up 1 touchdown. And scoring is going to happen in the NFL. It's a high-scoring league. That's going to happen. You give up 1 touchdown in the second half. You shut them down the rest of the second half, and also causing a safety. Like, come on, where was the Bucs? Where was the Bucs to take advantage of that? Where is the offense?
Well, I'm saying the fix is don't throw interceptions. Both the interceptions were in the second half. I mean, don't kill yourself. Don't hurt yourself on offense. And that is
no,
fixable.
I'm just saying, like,
I
defense,
understand.
You can say it's unfixable, but I think they're getting the stops. They're getting there, but it's inopportune moments when the Bucs turn the ball over. Like we look back in the last game. The Ravens have the best offense. They were going to get their points. It was going to be a high-scoring game. But when the Bucs had the opportunities to take the lead, Baker throws back-to-back picks. And you look at this week, the Bucs get 2 stops to start the third quarter. Baker throws picks. And so I just, again, it goes back to my point. You cannot blame Bowles for everything.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, and I think we could bring this up. The Bucs are suffering from not playing complementary football. Like you just mentioned, you have in the first half, offense is moving the ball, the defense can't get the stops. Second half, defense is getting the stops, the offense can't capitalize. And you're getting both sides had a good half, and neither of them had the good half at the same time. So that's pretty frustrating. You can't play complementary football. I mean, I look at a couple things, right? The Bucs cut that lead to 21-17 right before halftime, and the Bucs defense allows Atlanta to tack on that field goal. That really hurts. And then obviously that final drive, you let Atlanta chew up 5-6 minutes of clock. On the final drive, you only give the Bucs offense a minute. We can talk about the lack of execution and time management all you want, but you force a 3 and out on that drive. The Bucs have no worry about the clock. All they have to do is go down and score. And you got lucky with a Younghoe Koo field goal because for some reason he can't kick against the Bucs. So, yeah, complementary football is lacking. This team is much better than what they're playing. They're much better than what their record is. And it is important to realize that the Bucs have played one of the toughest schedules in the NFL. They have one of the easiest in the remaining in the NFL. So you can't if you're here to get off the bandwagon of the Bucs, I think that's 1, dumb, and 2, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, I refuse to. I refuse to give up on them. Are we good with this game? Are you still on?
Joel, are you still on the Bucs bandwagon?
Yeah, I just looked at the schedule. It's like, all right, time to cheer up. We're good.
Yeah, I think one of the probably the toughest game on the schedule right now is coming up this weekend. The Bucs have another primetime Monday Night Football game. I swear I thought they had a bye week in between this week and next week. That was not true. I might have even said that on the show. So if you guys were misled by my information, I'm sorry about that. But the Bucs played this weekend, Monday Night Football in Arrowhead Stadium against the undefeated, reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. 8:15, November 4th. And I mean, guys, what are our keys to this game when we look at how the Bucs can, get a huge win to bounce back?
Yeah, well, I think I guess we'll start with the offense here. Kansas City. Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, he's been with that team for a long time. It's pretty rare when you have a team like this where you've basically had the same offense and same defense for almost like 10 years at this point. So this guy, all the guys on there, they're very experienced. They know the playbook. They know their bread and butter, and that's going to be a lot of cover 0, cover 2. And, it's a simple defense, but they can do a lot of stuff very well in different ways. And I just think you got to limit the mistakes. You have to be able to establish a run game. I think that's where it's going to be really important for the Bucs this week. I think if you cannot run the ball, if you allow the Chiefs to shut you down in that aspect, you're going to lose this game. On the flip side, for the defense, I think the biggest issue I've looked at is getting teams into third and long situations. All the Falcons' touchdowns and points came from third downs, 3rd and 6 or less. You got to be able to get teams into third and long, because the Bucs were very successful against the Falcons when they were forcing third and long situations. And they have to do that, especially with the Chiefs. That's going to be the biggest way to shut them down. Don't let them get a lot on second down. Make Mahomes make a play. And I know that's easier said than done, because Mahomes is a playmaker. He does a lot of things. There's a lot of things that people might say, is unorthodox, but they work. He gets it done. He's a Super Bowl champion. But you have to get it to third and long. You have to.
If we can get pressure on him, we win the game.
Yeah, and you got to find a way to get some type of pressure with a 4 or 5 man rush, whether that is, Vita Vea, Kalijah Kancey up the middle, that would be ideal, or if it's Yaya or JTS or one of those guys winning their matchups, and I think that's a good key. You got to get pressure on Mahomes. We saw it in the 2020 Super Bowl. The Bucs were able to get pressure on Mahomes with just a 4-man rush. Don't have to send a bunch of blitzes, and that's when teams struggle. Mahomes, all these really good quarterbacks, they're really good because they can decipher a blitz and beat it. That's a lot of these experienced quarterbacks. They can beat blitzes. So that's kind of when you can't get pressure on the quarterback with 4, that's the problems that you fall into. I think as you look at Bucs offense, I think run game is so key. Still don't have Godwin, still don't have Evans, and the Chiefs defense is pretty good with Steve Spagnuolo. Like Will mentioned, they're only allowing 17.6 points per game on the season and only allowing 3.5 yards per rush. Bucs, I know they can do better than that, and I think they will. I think that's a key, and another key going with the run game is to possess the football. The Bucs have had some long drives. I mean, their first scoring drive in this Falcons game was 8 minutes. The best way to defend Patrick Mahomes is keep him off the field. And I think if the Bucs can have a couple of long scoring drives, shorten the game up, I think they're going to be in a good spot when it comes to, beating the Chiefs. Because I look at the Chiefs, they are 7-0. They are undefeated, but they've played a pretty soft schedule. You play Baltimore week 1, you get Kevin Durant, lucky shoe size. But I mean, ever since then, you get a win on the road at the Falcons. That's a solid win. Obviously, the Bucs can't do that. But then the last 4 games, Chargers, Saints, 49ers, you can take that as you will, and then Raiders. So the Chiefs haven't played the competition that are as good as the Bucs, especially those in-division teams. I think the Bucs, they are one of the better 4-4 teams in the league. I know that's you don't get an award for that, but this team is good, and I do think they're gonna give Mahomes and the boys a fight on Monday night.
There's always a saying in football: teams are gonna have to lose eventually.
Yeah,
teams are gonna have to lose eventually. You can't win forever. You can't.
Yeah, and another key is Travis Kelce seems to be on the wind down, but the Bucs have struggled with tight ends mightily. Mark Andrews, likely, Kyle Pitts, you name it. The Bucs have struggled with tight ends, especially in the middle of the field. Who are you going to put on Travis Kelce? Is it going to be Levante David? Is it going to be a defensive back like Winfield or maybe Eisen in the slot, something like that? Maybe Tyke Smith if he returns. We don't know. But
it needs to be a defensive back.
I'd like to see
it
Tyke
definitely
on
has to. I would love to see Tyke Smith because I just think watching. I hate the Chiefs so much, and you get to watch the Chiefs so much. With especially the Taylor Swift developments. They're on prime time all the time. The best way you shut down Travis Kelce is you get physical with them. You get physical with them. A physical defensive back. That will slow him down. That will shut him down. You pop him in the mouth a couple times, and that guy's not going to do any damage to you. But where teams struggle, and I said this earlier, when you put a linebacker on him, heaven forbid, Todd Bowles, do not let me see KJ Britt
Oh my gosh.
or Levante David
Worst
one-on-one with
nightmare.
Kelsey.
Levante David I can live with. KJ Britt I cannot.
Put a DB on him and get physical. Get physical with them.
Yeah, really, really need to see.
Get
that.
in the whole bowl, man.
Yeah, dude, man. The Bucs can win this game. They really can. And I'd like to see a better performance out of them because you lose this one, you're below 500. That sucks, man. It really does.
We're not snowballing.
I hope not, but it looks like they're primed for a snowball. If
And shame on the media once again for bringing that up. You might jinx us now. You evil people.
I'm gonna look and see if the Bucs were 4-4 in 2023. You guys can discuss and/or pick. I don't know.
Joel, why don't you go first? Tell us how the game's going.
Getting really tired of picking the Bucs to lose, so I think I'm willing to be wrong on this one, just for the sake of being positive, because I'm getting really down over here. So I'm just gonna do it. Bucs are gonna win. Score time. 31 to 27. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be my favorite type of game, a nail biter. And for whatever reason, the Bucs win this game. Pull a heartbreaker for Kansas City, and I love this game because I kind of see where you're at based on the Super Bowl a few years ago, like how much of the Bucs are seeded, or how are how is Kansas these days, and yeah, I think Bucs win.
Bucs were 3-5 in 2023 to start, so one game better.
That's what I like to hear.
I'll go second. Will, I'll let you have your grand finale.
Why do you say that?
Well, because you like to get the boys fired up.
The build up.
I think the Bucs will keep this game close. What's the spread? What's the spread looking like? Kansas City -9. If you're looking to make some money, I would put the money on the Bucs spread because I don't think they're losing by 9 points. They haven't lost many games by 9 points in the last 2 years. But I do think on the road it's a little chillier. It's getting cold. The Bucs don't play well in cold weather unless it's Lambeau. Lack of Godwin and Evans against a really, really good defense might hurt them. I don't know. With all that cover zero and the aggressive man, I don't know if I trust these Bucs receivers to get open. And I just don't trust this Bucs defense right now. And I want to be wrong, but I'll take the Chiefs. I'll take them to win this game 24-17.
Oh, you have little faith. When I look back in the NFL and all the years, all the legends, all the greats, and now we're in the new era, Patrick Mahomes, is he the face of the league? He might be. But there's been one single man. When the game was on the line, he came in and he shut down Mahomes. He shut down the Chiefs. His name was Todd Bowles. He knows what it takes to beat this Chiefs team. He might not know what it takes to beat Kirk Cousins, but he knows what it takes to beat Mahomes. And he's cooking up a defensive game plan. The Bucs are tired of losing. They're just as frustrated as you are. They're just as frustrated as us. And they are going to shock the world. It's going to be on prime time when all the world seems against them. I bet you all those experts, when they get to the pick'em, it's going to be Chiefs across the board. You're going to see Jason Kelsey down there on the sideline. You're going to see Taylor Swift. But they're all going to go home disappointed because the Bucs are going to have a bounce-back win. They're going to beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. They're going to do it. I guarantee it. They are going to win 27-24. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Chiefs got to lose eventually. They have to lose eventually. Give me the Bucs. And I better see every single one of you, say, praise to Todd Bowles' defense. Give him his flowers.
Okay.
I want flowers at $1 place, filling up the front door, because I want to see it the same way around when he wins.
This win will be magical.
Also, back against the wall, that's when Baker plays his best. So if you're looking for some positives, that's one of them. I'm rolling with the Chiefs, but I am most definitely happy to be wrong. So, with all this bad Bucs news, we get to move on to the ice team of the city, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Ever since we last were here, last time we recorded was on Thursday night, and we knew that the Lightning lost 4-2 to the Wild. But since then, the Lightning have been hot. On Saturday night, they had their first game in their beautiful black alternate jerseys, which I love. I don't know if
they're growing on me. They are growing on me.
I really like them. I think they're one of the better black jerseys that the Lightning have rolled with. So much better than
cannot say that, but I understand.
So much better than those black and gray ones. Can we agree on that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Those were the worst.
Those were so bad.
The ones they're wearing right now are the second worst.
Oh, I don't know, man. They're clean. But anyways, on those black jersey nights, the Tampa Bay Lightning would go through the first period tied 0-0, but then in the second, Mitchell Chafee would get his second goal of the season, put the Lightning up 1-0. Then in the third period, Braden Point would put the Lightning up 2-0, and then later on, about 45 seconds later, Connor Geekie. I love this guy. First career NHL goal. Take that puck, bring it home with you. And that's all the Lightning would need. The Big Cat would get a big shutout, and the Lightning would win 3-0. And then let's just keep moving on to the next game, the one that we're probably going to spend the most time on because it was a big moment, especially in Lightning history. Special night for Steven Stamkos and the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Nashville Predators walked into Amalie Arena, Steven Stamkos' first game back in his old stomping grounds. And this game started off in the first period, emotional with a tribute, and then Braden Point said, "I don't care about this tribute video." Beautiful back and forth hands, backhand, top bins. 1-0 Bolts. And then Mitchell Chafee again on the breakaway, a beautiful sniping shot. 2-0 Lightning. And then in the second period, the Predators would get their get back. Ryan O'Reilly would get a power play goal, and then Nyquist would get a goal to tie it. 2-2 headed into the third, and we'd still be scoreless after 60 minutes of hockey, so we get some free hockey. And then overtime. The Lightning didn't seem to have the puck at all for the first 2 minutes, but then they got it, and Jake Gensel puts a beautiful pass on Nick Paul's stick. He puts it in. The Lightning win 3-2. And we're feeling good, man. Go Bolts.
Yeah, I wanted to beat Stamkos more than anything. I think you guys, if you're longtime listeners of the show, I hate seeing other guys come in and play against us. I want us to absolutely dominate. I didn't want to see Blake Snell have a good game. I didn't want to see, whoever. And I sure as heck, as much as I love him to death, I did not want to see Stamkos have a good game. And, he got his name on the stat sheet. I said he wouldn't. He got a couple of measly assists. But other than that, I think we dominated. I'm just glad we came away with the win because, yeah, like you said, that overtime was quite concerning.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Seemed
scary.
like it was all Predators through and through, but thankfully Lightning, all it takes is one. All it takes is one. Beautiful pass by Gensel, and then, yeah.
I was just waiting for Stamkos to score the overtime goal. Like, that's the story that hockey wanted. And I was every time he had the puck, I was like, oh no, don't do this to me. No, I don't want to be on this side of that story.
Yeah, I thought that was happening too. I was right there with you, Joel. And there was a couple chances in that third period that Stamkos had where it was like, oh, here we go. In the slot, no one's there. He's going to put one right by Vazzy. I mean, anytime they went on the power play, I was like, where's the Stamkos goal? Where's his office? Where's he going to score the one-timer? I mean, I was right there with Joel. I think, hockey's not like the other sports. It's not as scripted, though. It seems to happen. It seems to happen a lot more in the NFL, the NBA. But, hockey, they're just out there playing. They don't really care about these they don't get emotional. Like Steven Stamkos, he was out there. He had a fun time in his tribute, but he was right back there playing hockey. They don't care about the gushy stuff. And, yeah, that was a really good win. I think, yeah, I don't know, just really good stuff. I think got to give a lot of credit to Vazzy. He had some big saves in the Predators game, and then he had a 31-save shutout in that Capitals game. So that was really encouraging to see Vazzy, after that rough one against the Maple Leafs, kind of get back on track.
Yeah, well, I think, too, especially with the Capitals, like I said, the Capitals are a sneaky good team. I predicted, of course, the Lightning go 2-0 this week, which they did do, but I said if you're going to have to watch out for anybody, it would be the Capitals, and they had a plethora of scoring opportunities. One super early that Vazzy was able to shut down, and then I want to say there was like in the second period he faced like 3 money scoring opportunities and shut them all down to keep that to keep that shutout going. So, yeah, that was a great game, especially Saturday. I'd say Saturday was his best game by far.
Yeah, his first shutout in the season. And hoping to see many more because he is such a crucial part of our team.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I mean, honestly, just looking at the Lightning as a whole, I feel like this Stamkos game is the first big benchmark for the Lightning season. And, they're sitting pretty good, man. 6-3-0 on the season. They have a +8 goal differential, which is 6th in the NHL. So you got to feel good about that. And I think their 5-on-5 play has been really, really good. I don't know, what has impressed you guys the most about the Lightning just early on in the season?
When they're on. Like, for the first period of this Nashville game where they were pushing the puck, like, there was moments where it was like, hey, we might just win this game, 4-0. Like, we had the puck in the offensive zone for most of that period. And then it kind of flipped in the second period, which was pretty concerning. But then we kind of evened everything out by the third period and then to win it in overtime. It's like, okay, this is the potential of this team. Really good defensive first period, and then you find a way to win in the end.
Yeah, also that Preds game, pretty close offside overturn goal that kind of took the wind out of the Lightning sails.
Yeah, I was going to say that actually changed the game a little bit.
Absolutely. That felt like after we got that one, if it had stood, it felt like that we were
that was where it was like, all right. Even they said it on the telecast. They were like, they said something along the lines of like, had that gone in, like Tampa would have just probably rolled with this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, it's I like that the Lightning are able to score first. They've scored first in every single game this season, and a lot of high scoring games, which was just phenomenal. But I see some positives. I see guys stepping up like Gensel. He's looked amazing.
That first line is so good, man.
J.J. Moser. But I think one thing we do have to talk about is I am getting pretty concerned about the power play 8 games in.
Yeah, so the power play right now is 16.1%. That is very, very low, and they still have not scored a power play goal in Amalie Arena this whole season. This is definitely a brand new look on the power play. Obviously, you don't have Stamkos, so actually Nikita Kucherov has been on the side that Stamkos is in. And the difference here is Braden Point's always kind of been in front of the net. I will say they were like, I don't know why you have Braden Point in the front of the net here on the power play. And I was like, guys, he's always there. He's always been there. And then Jake Gensel is actually he roams a little bit, but he's always very often in the middle of the ice. So the difference between this power play and last year's is, as opposed to kind of the side-to-side, one side of the net to the other, there's a lot more play in the middle of the ice and the slot. So that's what they're looking for. I think on the last or second to last power play of the Preds game, they got some good chances. I like the puck movement. I think they could do a better job kind of keeping it in, and especially like those hustle plays of keeping the puck from going out of the zone and in the zone. I think they've kind of suffered on stuff like that. But I'm not concerned with the power play just yet.
Yeah, for me, I think it's like three things that stick out in my head, and I still think there's got to be some guys who step up a little bit more, because I think the difference with last year is that you had Stamkos, so teams really had to worry. You had to worry about Kucherov, who's so good at finding the right guy open, getting that crucial pass, and then he's also taking a lot more shots on the power play than he was as opposed to last year. But now that you don't have Stamkos, you really need one more person to step up and be dangerous. And I'll get to that person who I think it should be in a second. But I just look at all the teams are too focused on Kucherov, and there hasn't been that guy there. So like I look at the Ottawa game, and they're all focused on Kucherov. They're able to intercept them and get that 2-on-1 and a shorthanded goal. And I just think that's because they're not really worried about anybody else. So I think that's where I think somebody like Radish needs to step up, because he's got by far one of the best slap shots, I think.
Absolutely.
You put him in the lower circles there, and I think you need to feed him a little bit, because even though he might not be as accurate as Stamkos as far as the 1-Ts and so on, I think just let him pound the goalie. Make guys step up in front of him and block it. It's kind of like Ovechkin. I think of Alex Ovechkin, where he's just ripping it. And I don't think guys want to step in front of that 100 times during a power play. So I really think Darren Radish needs to be the guy to step up for this power play. And one more thing, I think you have to focus on winning faceoffs. I've seen too many times they're not winning the face-offs. They're not getting it done in that aspect. You got to be able to win that so you can start in the zone and put pressure on them right away.
There were points in the Nashville game where they were kind of going on a roll. Like I felt like toward the end of the third period, we were winning a lot of them. We were 50-50 in the Nashville game on the dot. So there were streaks. Like looking at that now, I thought we had a good face-off game. But if it was 50-50, there must have been some streaks where we did pretty bad.
I've gone back, and I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but at least the last couple games, they've been like, 60-40 almost.
Yeah, and if you guys are new to hockey, faceoffs are a huge part of the game. It just kind of the way hockey is just the momentum of a team kind of engulfs a team, and that's what leads to goals, and sometimes the goalie can save them from it. But if you win all these faceoffs, you have all this zone time, you're bound to score. So
guys get tired, they can't get off the ice, they just have to sit there.
Yeah, and even like to go on the face-off point, they lost that opening face-off in overtime, and that was kind of like I was there watching it with Luke, and I was like, man, we might not get the puck here, and it's frustrating. It's almost like the NFL where you lose the opening coin toss, you don't get it, but that's not what happened in hockey, and that's not what happened with the Lightning. And I was actually thinking right along the lines of you, because I was going to say I think defensemen need to get a little bit more active in the power play. I think Darren Raddysh has a great shot. I think he's a great candidate to be a defenseman that gets more active in the power play. I think Hedman could, use to take a couple more shots, pound that goalie in front, because you also have more net front presence because Gensel and Braden Point are in front of the net and in the middle of the crease, have more of a chance to get those mucky goals, I think, than last year with Stammer and Kucherov kind of playing tic-tac-toe. And, I'd like to see Moser shoot some more. I think he's got a good shot. He's already got some goals on the season. Even McDonough. McDonough is a wily vet. I think he'd get a couple goals on the power play. So, in total, I would like to see some more defensemen get a little more active on the power play. I think that's a great point. I think it's something that could really improve their power play. And speaking of Moser, I just wanted to give a shout-out to JBB. I really do, because, maybe I'd like to see Steven Stamkos still on the team, but this dude knocked it out of the park with the Mikhail Sergachev trade. You look at Mikhail Sergachev, who was getting paid a lot of money, and to me, he was a liability sometimes on the ice. You get two really, really good young players in J.J. Moser and Connor Geekie, both who seem to really have been adjusting to the NHL game really good, have played some quality ice time. Connor Geekie, the last few games, has been, got his first goal, created some really, really good opportunities against Nashville. I've been so impressed with this trade, and I think this youthful spurt, I look at Lilleberg, Geekie, Moser, Mitchell Chaffee already has 3 goals on the season through 9 games. This youthful, energy, even Eyssimont, youthful energy has been very helpful to the Lightning. I think as the season progresses, that's going to be very valuable as they kind of get to the dog days of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice because it's going to keep our window open, because they were saying that Nashville's window is about to close, and it's like Lightning's window is still pretty good.
Yeah, that's my favorite situation in sports, is when you mix, the older guys that have been there and you get the younger guys, and it works. You have like the mix of the younger guys who are stepping up in the big moments, and you have the older guys that have been there that are kind of showing the road, and it doesn't always work. But I think of the 2022 Golden State Warriors. You have Steph, Draymond, and Clay, but then you have Jordan Poole, other guys, stepping up in there, even Kuminga, stuff like that. You have those guys kind of stepping up, and it's kind of the mixture of youth to veteran, and I love that dynamic. So if the Lightning can have that, because this is probably the most young contributions they've had, since they've really gotten this cup run, I'm ecstatic, because, dude, the other thing with the youth is, I see some of these young players we traded away, and a lot of them feel like the ones that got away. Like Ross Colton, I think is top 5 in goals right now in the NHL, and then Carter Verhaeghe's been playing good. So it's good to have some young players playing well on our team and not on other teams.
Yanni Gourde.
Yeah, scrappy guy. I thought they were going to bring him back this offseason. I was so for it.
Alex Barré-Boulet.
What happened to that guy?
He's in Montreal.
Man, he fell off. We were so excited about him last year.
I know. I was going to buy his jersey. He was like my favorite young guy.
Man. Yeah, he fell off a cliff. It is what it is. Yeah, so the Lightning, unless we have anything else, we can get to the game predictions. The Lightning will play tomorrow night. We're recording on Wednesday. This episode will be out 9 p.m. They are heading on a road trip. Lightning will play against the Colorado Avalanche. We'll see Ross Colton. We'll see the guy who robbed Kucherov of his Hart Trophy, Nathan MacKinnon, last year. And then on Friday, the Lightning will play the Wild again, but this time in Minnesota, looking for a little bit of revenge. And then the Lightning will head to Winnipeg on Sunday at 3 p.m. A Sunday 3 p.m. game. Actually, no Bucs. No Bucs. You can watch it in Winnipeg. And that's probably, all we need to predict. So 3 games. What are we feeling about in these games?
Yeah, I mean,
actually, maybe we predict Blues because
we'll be definitely filming
while it's happening.
And then I'll give you a prediction right now. They'll lose.
Yeah, that's a good bet
because we're bad luck.
Yeah, that's a good bet.
No, this Colorado Avalanche team, they're high scoring, but I think they have way too many questions defensively, and Alexander Georgiev does not seem like the guy. They're giving up goals at a crazy rate. I think the Lightning can capitalize on this. They should get the dub there. Minnesota, you played them once. Man, you should win that game too. I'll say the Lightning get their get back, but they probably lose at Winnipeg. They're very good at home. So I'll say 2-1 with their loss being to Winnipeg.
I want to say 2-1, but just a tough road trip. I think they're going to lose that one to Colorado. I feel like ever since we played them in the Stanley Cup, they beat us pretty frequently. I think they will get their get back against the Wild, but then Sunday afternoon game, I also feel like the Lightning lose Sunday afternoon games pretty frequently. Anytime they play in the afternoon, I don't feel good about it. So I'll say 1-2. I think they get the middle game, lose the bread of the sandwich, and give me Connor Geekie. Score another goal, baby. Let's go.
I will go 2-1. I too think 2-1. I think they'll lose the Colorado game just because you took my answer. I was thinking that since they got the Stanley Cup, it's we can't get them back nowadays. Man, you took everything from me. I was gonna go Connor Geekie. I guess I just was.
Sorry, dude.
I know. I gotta go quick now. Give me Anthony Cirelli.
Did you pick one, Will?
Give me Radish on the power play.
Nice. I'd love for what you said to come to fruition. I'd be awesome. Because we know puck. It's not ball, it's puck.
I was just going to say that.
Dude, we're locked in today. We are locked in today.
This was a solid episode.
Before we go, what's the score of the Yankees game? They're going to lose regardless. But I just want to say, the Yankees are up 6-4, but they're going to lose at some point. Sorry, Yankees.
I guess they're going to lose in 5.
Yankees lose.
Yeah.
Yankees lose.
Look at what happens when you don't play AL Central team. Wow, magic. They don't win. Oh, crazy.
Even the race, the lowly race, we were able to get 2 on the Dodgers.
Yeah, we played them way better than you suckers, and we didn't even have home field advantage. Imagine the Trop in that situation would have been rocking.
Oh, my gosh, for that one game, yeah.
Hey, would have been rocking. Hey, 2020, the Rays led the MLB in attendance. We're second. They led the AL in attendance.
We had the good laws, though. That's probably why.
No, it's literally because they only let people come in for the World Series.
Yeah. They really didn't have no
2021. No, 2021 we had limited capacity, but 2020. That was the thick of it.
Those were the days.
Dude, those were fun games to watch. I kind of miss that summer of bubble hockey, Lightning.
NBA. Yeah. NBA bubble. That's the greatest season I ever watched.
It was pretty electric. And then the Bucs were playing, and it was all going down at the same time. The Lightning won, the Rays won the World Series, and the Bucs had Tom Brady. Man.
We were a city of champions.
We were Champa Bay.
That era too, it kind of felt like the olden days where everybody was watching the same thing. So it was you guys watching this hockey game. There's nothing to do.
Literally, no, that's so facts. So yeah, let us know. Say rest in peace, Yankees, bozo, in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on the Bucs and if you guys think they can get a massive win this coming Monday against the Chiefs. Give us your thoughts on Lightning hockey. How do you guys feel? Who's been your most impressive player so far? Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Like and follow or subscribe on YouTube. Same thing on Spotify. And have a beautiful and blessed night, guys.